He really offended me this time, especially in front of my friend. How embarrassing! I slapped the table violently and got ready to start a fight. How unlucky the Chinese teacher walked in then and called him over. She didn't pay attention to what just happened. I was definitely going to get revenge. I waited until school finished. He went home by himself. There weren't many people on the road. A few friends of mine stopped him and said that they wanted to talk to him about something. After that, he wasn't given any room to resist as they dragged him over to a place that no one would ever go to and beat him up intensely. What a splendid job! I didn't even have to show my face. That was the imposing manner of a Lauda. I excitedly asked the one who claimed to be the most ruthless subordinate of the lot, Wang Xiaowang, to tell me what happened. He recounted it with his becoming in joy and added a sentence at the end. Lauda doesn't have to worry about anything when we do the job. We chose to hit the places where he had more skin. After we finished with the beating, we even straightened out his clothes on his behalf. We said to him, "Now no one can tell that you have been beaten. If you dare to rattle out on us, then I promise to remove an arm or a leg of yours." I continued to ask, "Did that bastard say anything?" Wan Shiyang thought about it for a second and shook his head. No, he didn't make a sound at all. Never made a sound. I was a bit surprised. He didn't beg to be spared or cursed a few times? No. Not even a groan or something? No. I didn't say anything more. He really didn't tell the teacher. The day after he got beaten, he just limped and hobbled to the class. The teacher showed concern by asking him what happened and he just said he fell over himself. He probably didn't even have the guts to tell his parents. Coward. I thought he was scared. This was definitely a good chance to build up prestige to let the entire class know that even the class president was frightened of me. But I thought wrong. When I straight up travel again, he actually walked over and looked like he wanted to go against me again. Actually, to be honest, he never got mad at anyone. His tone was always very soft and carried a rather baffling hint of shyness. But I got annoyed from just looking at him. I didn't wait for him to talk and spoke up first. Don't even try. I don't yield to reasoning or force. I walked out of the classroom as soon as I finished talking. I didn't start a fight with him this time. After all, he didn't anger me. I believed that if one wants to mingle in Jianghu, then they must obey Jianghu rules. It's just that these rules are just too confusing. To tell the truth, I was a bit fearful of beating him up last time. I wanted to leave some leeway. My conflicts with him weren't too apparent, but he was the nail in my eye. I thought about how I was going to teach him a good lesson all day long, but I couldn't think of a good way to do so. Other than eating and drinking alcohol, my friends and I watched AVs together. Honestly speaking, there weren't many opportunities to fight. We could only depend on watching videos to fulfill our desires. My house was very big and I was the only one who lived in it. I lived happily and carefully. We never did that kind of stuff before. But after watching too many of those videos, we became extremely familiar with things like specific language, terms, techniques, etc. Sometimes the videos were just too hot to the extent where Wang Xiaoyang even wanted to go find a chicken. However, in the end, he didn't dare do it. We all thought fighting was what showed our power. If you went to find a chicken, then you had really have fallen too low. My brothers just weren't good students in the teacher's eye. Their words were harsh and they had described themselves like some sort of mafia figure. They definitely wouldn't be able to do it. That's why every time we came to the end of a video, we would all solve it through. One day, Wang Xiaoyang walked over mysteriously and gave me a video and said that I must watch it. I asked him what the contents were, but he said he didn't know and that it was strongly recommended by the shop owner. I was dubious about it. Their words are valuable? Don't they just want you to buy more of their videos? Even though I said those words, I still called over a few friends to watch it together. I never would have thought that when we watched it, everyone's eyes would go wide open. A brother shouted louder, so man could also do that? It's actually true. No one knew that what to say. I had only faintly heard about people mention homosexuals back then. I thought it was just two guys who both didn't like women and lived together like friends. When people said it, it was always with a scornful tone. I had thought it was worried. Wasn't that quite a pure thing? I even secretly thought about it. If they wanted to do that, then what could they do? Find a girl or solve it themselves? I started at the television intensely, so that's how things worked. When I secretly looked at them again, I continued to stare at the screen without blinking. That afternoon, one could say I gained knowledge. It's strange if I mentioned it, but after that I became very interested with those kinds of videos and constantly told those guys to go buy some. At first, they would vehemently watch it with me, but not before long they became uninterested. They couldn't just dampen my speech in front of me, so they could only whisper and say that it was more exciting to watch hetero ones.